Texas 1, and this is indebted to Ken McLeish's lovely book, Making War at Fort Hood. At Fort Hood, deployment is the air. It's in PTSD, infidelity, death by speeding on the widow's highway the day after getting home, the dull sense of propriety on the base. It sutures to the mile-long row of strip malls, fast food chains, and auto parts stores, to 10 miles of tanks and then nothing, the open prairie of tornado country. Texas 2. In Texas, the sociopaths run the government. Mad little worlds inflamed by liberalism's incessant judgment spin out over who goes into bathrooms or the right to choose genetically modified food. Investigative journalists follow the tracks of redistricting, talk radio, border vigilantes. In South Texas, privatized prison work is the main industry now. Asylum seekers know to carry an address on a scrap of paper when they turn themselves in at the border. There are more ICE raids in Austin than anywhere else because Texas hates Austin. Dallas killed Kennedy. Connecticut is appalled. Lifelines. We broke down in the middle of nowhere, South Texas. No motels, rental cars, or garages, just flatlands and vultures, pickups and semis carrying gas and oil. I coasted into a dirt parking lot at the crossroads of 80 and 119, across a sand and asphalt expanse from the Gillette General Store, which was a gas station, and the whole cafe. I had barely thrown up the hood when a woman pulled up in a big gray late model pickup and turned off the engine. Beautiful, Latinx, grinning. She made eye contact and held it. Do you need help? Her wedding rings flashed. Her nails flickered colors and gems as she worked her fingers fast across an iPad and an iPhone. She was working me out of the bad. She knew a guy up the road and a mobile mechanic who could come. She gave me my options. She got them on the phone for me, and then by way of an ending, she switched into an intimate laughable. Well, that's life. They say your house and your car are your worst investments. She let the light note settle on the scene before she pulled out. Two others, both men in big silver gray pickups, also stopped. Do you need help? That's the way it is. It's always in the middle of nowhere. They listened for the story. Food for days on Padre Island, fishing gear, guitars. Ah, it didn't look like a repo. Well, what are you gonna do? When he used to make the trip with his family, they'd have to go food shopping every day, even though they'd already been to Sam's Club before the trip. And then they'd have to carry boxes of food home once the grandchildren left. It's never simple. I know. But help is on the way, right? Okay, then. The roving mechanic, Steve, heard the loose rod and said it's bad and a holiday, and parts would have to come from San Antonio, and it was a turbo. We stood in a pause, and then it turned to him. Steve was from Ohio, which was backward, originally from West Virginia, which was backward too, but nothing like Pennsylvania. The pennies were mean. He moved to Texas because he got tired of the cold. I thanked him and asked him what I owed him. He said $20. I gave him $40 because he had told me a story about getting a call from a woman who ran out of gas on the road. So being a nice guy, he went and bought a gas can, filled it with $20 worth of gas, and took it out to her. She said, "How much do I owe you?" And he said, $50. She gave him a credit card, but it didn't work so well. So she said, "Well, here's $20. I'll put $20 of gas in your truck." His wife had a good laugh over that one. 2 hours later, the tow truck arrived. As the driver was pulling the car up, onto the lift bed, leaving us in the dirt surrounded by a pile of suitcases, coolers, pillows. He asked me twice whether I wanted him to call someone to come sit with us. He didn't want to leave us out there stranded if that's what was happening. It was 3 months before I ever saw that car again. I walked over to the gas station for water and a pee. It had just closed. The woman inside gestured to me, no. A man's voice berated her in Spanish with the whole story, and she let me in. Friends arrived who had been on another route to Padre, bird watching on the reroute. We piled everything into their tiny Mazda, stopping at a Dairy Queen to unfold our legs and gawk at 200 hawks drying their wings on a high tower after a cloud burst in the desert. When we got back to Wi-Fi, I Googled where we had been. Karnes County, population 15,000, 48% Latinx, where the local economy was oil and, for jobs, the prisons and detention centers. My clown car friend Emily had been driving down from Austin every week for years to translate for asylum seekers and coach them how to dress and wear their hair to court and exactly what to say to the judge.